Good morning, Knicks Nation. Today, I want to talk about the Knicks and Patrick Williams. Patrick Williams from Florida State University. Um, okay, so Patrick Williams is, along with Jaden McDaniels, the most intriguing prospect in this draft. And I rank him above Jaden McDaniels, but let's talk a little bit about his background. So he is from North Carolina. He's from North Carolina, and he played under a coach that I really respect a lot, a coach that teaches players to play the right way. If you look at his team, they're very similar in how they play. And that's Leonard Hamilton. Leonard Hamilton used to be a coach at the University of Miami. Of course, he's been, as most coaches that take the road to coaching, he has had a lot of assistant jobs, and then he became head coach at University of Miami. He had a stint. I think he coached a year in the NBA with Washington. Then he went back to college, and he coached now he's been coaching at Florida State for a long time. I would say probably at least 15, 20 years. He's been coaching at Florida State for a minute now. And all of his teams play good defense. He starts off with that. None of his players, it reminds me a lot of old Indiana under Bobby Knight. None of his players, you're not going to see any of his players average 30 a game. The ball is moving, it's distributed. His players play defense. He develops defense in them, and both individual and team defense. And so, of course, this is the same system that's producing Devin Vassell. It's the same system that produced Jonathan Isaac, who, until he got hurt recently, was one of the young up-and-coming power forwards in the NBA, and hopefully he recovers and does well. Let me back up for a minute, and let me also say, I hope all of you are well today. I hope you all are healthy today. I hope that you're safe today. In this environment in which we live. And I hope that if you are sick, that you recover quickly. Let me just say that before we continue. So Patrick Williams just turned 19 this past August. So he was 18 for his freshman year. True freshman, and he's 19 now. He'll be 19 in his first year in the NBA. If you are a coach, or if you've ever coached, which I have, and a lot of you have as well, you really would be salivating at a guy like Patrick Williams for a couple of reasons. Number one, the kid has so much natural ability and talent. And that's why I compared him to Jaden McDaniels. Similar, natural ability and talent off the charts, man. I mean, that's number one. Number two is, unlike what I've seen from Jaden McDaniels, and maybe he's changed, but this kid wants to work hard to be the best basketball player he can be. And again, I think that's probably a combination of why Leonard Hamilton recruited him, because that's the type of players he recruit, and why he ended up playing under Leonard Hamilton, because he wants to be the best basketball player he can be, and he's willing to sacrifice. He's willing to take the time, put the hours in that you're going to need. This, as we know as Knicks fans, this is a typical Tom Thibodeau type of player. So let's start with what he can do now. Right now, as a freshman, he came off the bench. Okay, as a freshman. And right now, he plays very good defense. Almost elite level defense. Again, coming out of Leonard Hamilton's system, his players are going to do that. And so that's why you also see Devin Vassell like that. And what I noticed in watching him was similar to Vassell. It almost is like they gamble, but it's not really gambling. You see what it is. But sometimes it appears to be gambling. Like Allen Iverson used to gamble on defense a lot, but this is not that. What this is Hamilton has these guys so prepared for their upcoming opponent that they already know the opponent's plays, and they're anticipating what the play is and where the offensive players are going, and they're in a position to try to steal the ball or meet the ball where it's coming. And so that's why it appears sometimes that Devin Vassell and Patrick Williams gamble. It's not as much gambling as it is. They just know what the opponent's going to do. That's called being prepared. And that attributes to, somebody asked me yesterday about what is a high IQ. That attributes to a high IQ. IQ being you understand what your opponent is getting ready to do. You understand what he's trying to do, and you understand what you need to do to meet that. Okay, that's attributes to a high IQ. And so, Williams plays defense right now, today, he can guard 1 through 5. He can guard 1 through 5. 6'8", 225. And can guard a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, and a 5. And played the year at age 18. Okay? It's not unusual at a Florida State program for a freshman not to start. Devin Vassell didn't start his freshman year. It's not unusual. Then, of course, there's other guys like Malik Beasley come out of that program as well. And so, he didn't start this year, but he played every game. Yeah, he played 29 games and, shot 84% from the line, guarded multiple positions. Again, what are we looking for as Knicks fans? In my view, and a lot of you agree with me. We're looking for players that are two-way players. They can play offense and defense. They don't have to be great on offense. They have to be a threat, though. And they play offense and defense. We're looking for players that can play multiple positions. So in this particular gentleman's case, this young man can play the 3, the 4, or the 5. He can play 3 positions. In small ball, he can play the 5. 3 and 4, definitely. So he can play a wing position as well. I mean, it's scary the talent this kid has. And also that's what we have right now with him. Okay. So he can guard 1 through 5. And, he's offensively, he's raw, but he has some talent offensively, obviously. Now he only shot 30% from the 3-point line, but if you watch his shot, if you watch him shooting, he drifts a lot. He drifts a lot on his jumper, but he has the tools. This can be fixed. Plus you're seeing him shoot 84% from the line. That's telling you he can shoot the ball. Okay. See, when you see a guy, it's a more scary proposition to improve RJ Barrett's jump shot, because not only did he shoot a low percentage from the field, but he shoots a low percentage from the line as well. He's not a good free throw shooter. That means there's a lot of work involved with getting him to become an adequate shooter. And the good thing about RJ is that he's willing to put the work in to do that. And he's young enough and pliable enough. He was only 19 last year, so that he could, improve that. But that's more scary proposition. This kid's already starting off the game with a touch, because he shoots 84% from the line. So he can improve his jump shot from 3-point range. And if you watch him, he's got everything else is pretty much, he just drifts a little bit when he shoots. He drifts forward a little bit when he shoots, but it can be fixed. Definitely can be fixed. One more thing about him at Florida State as well. This is a kid really that could have benefited from one more year under Leonard Hamilton. I mean, again, I'm not going to discourage any young man from coming out in the lottery in the NBA and getting a guaranteed 4-year contract for whatever it's going to be. In his case, he'd probably be in the mid lottery. So you probably not mid lottery. He's probably going to be right after the lottery. Like he'd probably be drafted between 14 and 21, I'd say. Might be before that. If he's in the lottery, that's good for him. But he's going to get somewhere in the area of a guaranteed, 4-year contract in the area of $3-4 million. And so you can't discourage you can't blame anybody for going to get guaranteed money like that. It's going to help him. It's going to help his family, And so you can't do that. But basketball wise, he could have used one more year. If he came back for his sophomore year under Leonard Hamilton, even with the loaded class we got coming out in 2021, this could be top 3, definitely top 5. No question. No question about it. His game will be that much farther along. But to say that right now what he is a role player that only can play defense and shoot a little bit is to really you really don't understand what you have with this guy. That's all you're seeing. You really don't understand what you have with him. I saw a couple of videos of guys say that he's a role player. He can play defense. He'll come out the bench. You really don't understand what you have. This boy right here is not even, and he hasn't even begun to scratch the surface of his potential. He really has not. I'm not going to say this other player's name because I don't like to do that to somebody, but he reminds me, if this guy got to San Antonio under Greg Popovich, He reminds me of another player, Greg Popovich, developed, that became finals MVP and is now top 5 in the league. This kid has that type of talent and potential. Right now, as his NBA floor, he can guard 1 through 5 right now. High energy, terrific motor, can shoot foul shots, and can be developed into a 3-point threat. That's where we at. That's his floor. That's his floor right now. Okay. His ceiling is, there's no ceiling. This kid has the talent. You know who he reminds me of? I mean, I'm an old cat and I'm always telling you guys who he reminds me of, but there was a guy that unfortunately passed away before he could actually play in the NBA. He played at the University of Maryland. His name was Len Bias. If Len Bias had actually come to the NBA, he'd be a Hall of Famer. That's how much talent this guy had. Michael Jordan didn't want no parts of Len Bias when they were in they were in the ACC. Len Bias played at Maryland under Lefty Driesell, and Michael Jordan was at this similar time with North Carolina. He didn't want no parts of Len Bias. Yeah, and that's what I'm trying to tell you. This is how good Len Bias was, and this is what we're talking about with Patrick Williams. Patrick Williams can handle the rock. He's a live body, strong body, offensive rebounder right now. I mean, he's also a very strong offensive rebounder right now. Can guard 1 through 5. I mean, this is what you got right now. But as a coach, now I've coached high school players, so I can't, and the players I coached, went to college and played. And I've seen, having been, friends with some kids that went to Division I and seen it up close and personal. I'm not a pro coach. So I don't want to say I even play one on TV. I'm not a pro coach, but there are nuances. I know there are nuances to the pro game that, players need to develop. There are nuances to the rotations. There's nuances to the plays. There's nuances there's some things that's just basketball, right? So you got to be able to cover ground defensively. Offensively, there's certain moves that you're going to make. You got to know how to make them every time. And there's much more than I'm saying, but there's nuances that if you get the right coach and the right situation, like I said, if this kid ended up going to San Antonio, there's no doubt. Within a couple of years, you're talking about an all-star. There's no question. Okay. But I'm excited because the Knicks now have what we consider a developmental staff, right? You're talking about Kenny Payne. You're talking about Mike Woodson. You're talking about Tom Thibodeau. You're talking about Johnny Bryant. You're talking about guys that have developed successful players and guys that have, been part of very successful basketball teams in the NBA. So, like the other day, I was looking at Tibbs' interview and they asked him, what do you think about Mitchell Robinson and RJ Barrett? And he said, it depends on how much work they're willing to put in. See, Tom Thibodeau is an old school gym rat. Like he wants you to put in serious hours and he believes that that's how you're going to get better. And you know what? He's right. If you give Patrick Williams to Tom Thibodeau, I mean, I'm talking about a guy that can initiate the offense if you need him to, score at will once he gets developed on the wing or at the stretch 4. Okay. And has the talent to be an all NBA defender. This is how much I see talent wise with this kid. And so if you're a coach, you start to drool when you see a kid like this, cause you're like, whoa, cause like you got one now, you know what I'm saying? And if you put the work in with him, he's going to be willing to put the work in because the kid, I also like to watch the interviews of some of these players. A lot of them, get asked some really dumb questions repeatedly. And so they have canned answers that they give. But then, there's some, you can see the thoughtfulness. You can see the desire. There's a difference between somebody that's selling themselves because that's what they're doing too. They're trying to sell themselves because they want to get that money, right? So you can't blame them for that. Somebody trying to sell themselves and somebody really telling you what it is. Like Devin Vassell, if you watch his interview, I mean, he was just telling you what it is, man. And he wasn't making no excuse for it. Like his jump shot, he wasn't making no excuse for it. Also the same with Halliburton. He said, my shot is my shot. He said, I'm going to be able to play at any position. I'm able to play in the NBA and hit my shot. He was very confident in that. And you could see it in his face. And he was almost irritated that people didn't believe in it. And he can't wait to prove him wrong. In fact, what he said, what Halliburton said, let's revisit that in 2 or 3 seasons and then come back and tell me about my shot. See, that's the type of thing. Now, Williams is much younger. Like he's 18, just turned 19. And he's very innocent kind of kid. Like, I'm just glad my teammates were working with me and I want to work with my teammates, and my teammates were encouraging me at Florida State. We was a brotherhood and blah, blah, blah. And I'm willing to work hard as I need to work. That's why I went to Florida State and I can't wait to get better. He said, that's the thing about basketball. You can work hard and always get better at anything. Now, for most players, this is not true. Some players, like, I can work as hard as I want to. I'm not never going to be, an Iverson or, I'm not going to be an NBA All-Star. Even when I was not going to do that, no matter how hard I worked, right? I could be the best basketball player I could be. But to be able to say the way he said it was so innocent, but he really could improve at any aspect of the game as high as he wants to, because he has that talent. Okay. So, but we have to also, let's talk about the negatives. As far as, you don't expect Patrick Williams to come in right away at 19 and, dominate in the NBA. He's not going to do that. Like I said, he really could have used another year at Florida State. If he came out next year, see, he'd have still only been 19. If he came out next year, man, he'd be top 5 for sure. He'd be top 5 for sure in next year's draft. But, like I said, he's coming out this year. So you got to, and this is the thing. This is another reason the NBA gives a lot of these kids 4-year they give them guaranteed 4-year contracts in the first round, is because, like, when you got somebody that's 18, you drafted them, right? Or 18 or 19, it was as if they'd be in college. And so by the time they're done with their contracts, it's like they graduate in college. You got to look at it like that. Like Kevin Knox would be a junior in college this year, right? So you got to look at it like that. And then when he would be a graduating senior, at the end of his 4th season, that's when you're looking for something, because now he's been in the development stage for a 4-year situation. Same with Frank Ntilikina. Same with Mitchell Robinson. Okay, so, and of course, R.J. Barrett. So with this kid, you would definitely want to bring him off the bench. In a Tibbs system, and again, somebody mentioned yesterday, and I'm looking at all of these players I'm reviewing as if Tibbs was going to play them, but you and I know, if you look at Tibbs' history, you don't play a lot of rookies a lot of minutes. You got to really show him something to get and start. He don't do that. He really doesn't do that. Taj Gibson came off the bench. Jimmy Butler came off the bench. Derrick Rose wasn't a rookie when Tibbs came there. So that was different, but he was young, but he wasn't a rookie, and it was obvious he was going to be a superstar. But, Tibbs don't like to start rookies, and then rookies that play have to show him something, because he keeps his rotation pretty tight, 9 guys pretty much. And so, but this kid, now, with regard to our boy Kevin and our boy RJ, I just want to say, this guy is going to help both of them. And how? Because his talent is such. See, every year in the NBA, you get new players coming out that could take your place. RJ plays the 2 and the 3. He's a wing. Let me let you in on a secret. Patrick Williams his career, when you look back at it, better than RJ. Okay, and we talking about Jimmy Butler with RJ. We talking about something better with Patrick Williams. Let me ask you a question: who's better, Jimmy Butler or Kawhi Leonard? Okay, and that's no slight on Jimmy Butler. I'm just saying, who's better, Jimmy Butler or Kawhi Leonard? If they were both on the same team and only one of them could start, who you starting? I mean, if you say Jimmy Butler, I got enough to say to you, but you understand what I'm saying? This is Patrick Williams. All right. So, if I'm Kevin, he better grow a motor, and he better grow one quick, because this boy has one now. Okay. That's not going to be an issue, a motor with Patrick Williams. He's gonna have the motor. He's gonna make some dumb rookie mistakes, but he's gonna have the motor. And you're not gonna see Patrick Williams slung around by Zion Williamson. That's not gonna happen. Okay? This kid is strong. He competes. He's ready as far as that's concerned. He just needs that development, that sharpening to bring out all of the talent this boy has. And so he would help both of those guys because they would see him coming. You understand? So, so now that doesn't change. I want y'all to understand that doesn't change my pick at 8. At 8, Vassell Halliburton. Done. Okay. I'm not even looking at Obi now. I'm not even looking at Obi because Vassell Halliburton done. And if I wanted a 4, this kid Williams. And I gotta look more closely at Jalen Smith. I'm gonna look more. I've been looking cursorily at him, just at some videos and stuff, but I gotta look more closely at him. I got a feeling he's also another guy. Although, and this is a guy that did come back to school and improved his game. But Patrick Williams' natural ability and talent, the gifts that he has just rolling out of bed, and his desire to become the best. This kid, that's why if it was just based on his stats, 9 points a game, 9 points a game, 32% from 3, 4 rebounds, that doesn't look like much. You know what I mean? That doesn't look like much. He played 22 minutes a game, 23 minutes a game. But when you watch him, and if you know what you're looking for, nah, man, you don't want to mess with this kid. I mean, you don't want no parts of him if you got to play against him. You know what I mean? And don't let him develop. He's like Bam Bam from the Flintstones. He don't realize how strong he is, how bad he is, how good he's going to be. Because he's going to be very good. Okay? Now, he has to go to the right team. Like I said, if he went to a San Antonio, it's like Frank Ntilikina. If Frank Ntilikina was drafted by the Spurs, you'd be talking already. He'd already been all defense already. He'd be starting. They wouldn't be playing around with him like the Knicks organization did. Okay, if he was there, if Frank Ntilikina was gone to Miami, you see what they did with guys you never heard of. Frank Ntilikina went to Miami with Eric Spoelstra. Please, it's because of the organization. Now, again, we're encouraged that we have a different team, a different organization now, a new culture, which is why I'm going to put in the link. By the way, we did a Russell Westbrook video a month ago. I'm going to put it in the link here, because y'all all talking about Russell Westbrook. We already knew that this was going to come. It's crazy season, man. You're going to get all that. I'll put the video link in the description box. So if you want to see what we talked about with Russell Westbrook, that's not a new culture. Talking about trading for Russell Westbrook is not a new culture. Talking about trading for CP3 and giving up draft picks, that's not new culture. That's old culture. That's old Knicks. Okay? So that shows you don't know what you're doing as an organization still. Look at Miami, look at Boston, look at San Antonio. These organizations have they messed together. Okay? And so Patrick Williams has to go to the right organization. I'm now believing the Knicks are going to be among that organization because they're not going to do stupid things like trade away young talent and draft picks for old players that are overpaid. Anyway. Look at the video. I won't have it in the link below. But yes, Patrick Williams is somebody, if the Knicks were to get him again, this is somebody we have to trade up to get from the 27-38 pick. Or trade Julius Randle. That's better to me. Trade Julius Randle. See, I'm not into trading picks right now. I'm just not. I don't like the feeling of it at all. So if we could just trade Julius Randle and acquire a pick either from Minnesota, Phoenix, Charlotte, somebody, in that mid-first round, we can get Patrick Williams. Okay? And right now, and at that point, let him, be obscure in his rookie year. No problem. But he's going to be like Jimmy Butler was, average 6 a game or something like that. But watch it now, because this boy is going to be a player. What do y'all think? Again, I'm going to put the other link in the description box for you. Shalom.